Let's get back to the big picture. The Africa Finance Corporation has led a team of partner institutions to support the building of the Lagos Digital Economic Zone being put in place by Itana Africa. Now, that $100 million deal was signed on Thursday on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly held in New York. Chatting to me on this development out of New York is Amadou Wadda, a Senior Director and Head of Portfolio Management and Optimization at the African Finance Corporation. A great Friday evening to you. Sir, we congratulate you and the AFC for leading this investment deal.
Thank you very much and good evening.
Very interesting. How does the AFC's involvement in the Itana Digital Economic Zone reflects your broader strategy at the AFC for driving sustainable economic development across Africa?
Thank you. You'll recall that AFC was set up to provide pragmatic solutions to Africa's infrastructure needs, and in so doing also to help accelerate industrialization of the continent, as well as provide a conducive environment for economic growth. We've noticed over the past decade, the digital economy has been growing at a very accelerated pace. I think between 2020 and 2022, it had grown by more than 300% from investments of about 2 billion to about 6.5 billion in 2022. And 80% of this growth was in 4 African countries: Nigeria, Kenya, Egypt, and South Africa. But Nigeria has the fastest growth rate for software developers. I think the last study I saw, every year Nigeria produces more than 5,000 new software developers. So there's definitely a need, and there's a huge potential for the sector. But what we've noticed also is that despite these growth opportunities, the sector is facing many challenges. Ranging from outdated regulations, inadequate infrastructure, providing uninterrupted power supply, providing the high-speed internet connectivity, office spaces, etc., accommodation for the tech sector to thrive. So it is in recognition of this that AFC has been in consultation with one of the most active players in the sector. Part of AFC's mandate also, if I may state, is also to try and help build capacity of the local entrepreneurs. So it's within this context that we've engaged with Itana, whose project sponsors are, very experienced in the technology sector. In fact, the principal, he helped to develop 2 unicorns and has also successfully started up, several companies. So we're partnering with them to implement a dear need for the continent. Because of these challenges, most of the African tech startups are registering their businesses outside of the continent. Most notably is in Delaware, the United States. And we believe that it is time that this African talent and this potential is harnessed and provided with the necessary infrastructure and platform to be able to thrive on the continent. So to quickly summarize, the project entails 3 verticals. One would be a startup district, which will provide the physical infrastructure, the offices, the accommodations, the uninterrupted power supply, high-speed internet connectivity, so that tech businesses and other service providers can locate themselves there and also focus on being more innovative. The other vertical is what we call a virtual free zone, like I mentioned, and this is going to be modeled along the lines of Delaware and also what's happening in Europe through the Estonia gateway, where companies wishing to do business within the European Union are registering remotely. So you can set up your business in Nigeria without necessarily having to physically relocate into the continent. And the last vertical, which also is part of this project, is setting up an accelerator fund, which would help provide that early stage funding for these startups. And also it gives them a forum to get mentorship from the pioneers in the business.
So what do you foresee for this investment for the wider Africa's digital economy? Are there other locations in sub-Saharan Africa that the AFC is looking to support such a digital economic zone?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, AFC's mandate, it cuts across the continent. So the concept of doing this digital economic zone in Nigeria is a pilot phase, and the intention is to replicate it, across the continent. The whole idea is Africa has a very, very youthful population. More than 60% are below the age of 35 years, and many are very, very technology savvy. So I think the challenge they face is that the lack of infrastructure puts them somewhat disadvantaged when compared to other continents. And the concept now is to try and provide that support to these young African entrepreneurs so that they can realize their full potential within the digital economy.
Very interesting scenario there. So in terms of the long-term impact assessment, what do you see on this for Nigeria briefly, to summarize for me, please?
So for Nigeria, for the virtual free zone would, undoubtedly bring in businesses to register in Nigeria, and also help increase investment in the country. Naturally, when the accelerator program is fully up and operational, you'll have more startups, which means that you'll create more jobs in terms of high skill in the tech sector. And it would also help to diversify the economy. As you know, Nigeria has been largely dependent on the oil sector, and that the digital economy could be a major contributor towards GDP, and also to help diversify the state of the economy.
All right, we thank you so much for your time, and we wish you all the best. Amadou Wadda, Senior Director at the Africa Finance Corporation, we thank you for your time and congratulations.